What did you do in the war? Hello, my name is Joseph Garcia. This documentary is meant to showcase our veterans and the lives and stories that they endured during the wars between World War II and Vietnam. The idea is one that will allow this generation to hear and see the veteran tell his own story about the most important moments in their lives. To the recognized veterans, they will have a record to pass down and a legacy that will not be forgotten. The story of what they went through should be shared for the future and for all of us. Thank you for our freedom.
Hi, I'm Olivia with David Tongren. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in New Britain, Connecticut. October 18, 1916.
How did you hear about Pearl Harbor?
How did I hear about it? I think probably, it was on the radio.
When did you enter the military?
I was working in a machine shop building giant tools because the USA did not have enough of them.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I volunteered.
Why did you choose your particular branch?
The Marine Corps, well, when I lived on a farm in Basra, Connecticut, I used to go do a lot of hunting and fishing and with my rifle when I was 12, 14, 15 years old. And I enjoyed hunting, shooting. So I just wanted to be a Marine.
What thoughts and attitudes did your parents or others in your family have when you entered the military?
My mother had 9 children, and there were 4 of us boys, 4 or 5, and joined different military branches.
Where did you go to basic training?
Parris Island, South Carolina.
What company were you assigned to?
Well, first we were shipped up to Virginia, Camp Lejeune, for more training. And then we were by train out to Treasure Island, California.
What duties did you have during war?
What duty? Well, we didn't call it duty, we called it combat. Second, I went in at 4:30 in the afternoon. Second wave on Iwo Jima. We were brought in by a Coast Guard coxswain and about waist high in the water, holding our rifles up so they didn't get wet or a machine gun.
What were your duties during war?
What was my duties? Well, that's what it was, war.
Why did they call you Whitey?
What? How did you get that question? They did. My captain, who won the Congressional Medal of Honor, used to send me out running through brush, and there weren't many trees on the island.
Tell us about the minefields.
The minefields? Okay, there were minefields. It was you all the time. See, the first wave went in and took a terrible beating, and the second wave, we lost 7,000 men, and there were mines set by the enemy, and so we were warned as my captain would send me to the west, to the right.
What did you do for recreation?
In combat? Recreation. We had no time for recreation.
Were you a boxer?
Yes. I was on the boxing team at Paris Island, middleweight. And I won 4 out of 5 fights, and the 5th one was a draw.
What was food and living conditions like?
What were they? Living conditions. Well, we would lay in trenches at night, close up. The Iwo Jima's soil was hot from volcanic.
Were you in combat with the enemy? What was that like?
You wouldn't understand.
Did you get any news from the States?
Like from the States?
From your family?
I made the front page of the newspaper.
Did you get any news from your family?
Like babies? Children?
Not when we were in combat.
About your children?
They were babies. But my wife wrote, but I think I got some mail from her, but it's rather difficult to get it, you know. It would come through very late.
How did you find out that you had a baby?
And I had a little girl, and she was about, I guess she was about 3 years old when I left, and my wife was pregnant, and when I was in Treasure Island, they sent me a message that I had a little daughter born.
How did you feel about FDR?
Who?
President Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Oh, President Roosevelt? He died the day I landed back in the States. The same day. And the newsboys were shouting it out.
When you first landed on the beach at Iwo Jima, what did you think about the black sand?
About the black sand? What did I think about it? Well, we knew that there had been volcanoes there. And it was very warm. We would take our sea rations and bury them in the soil there, the black soil, for about a half an hour, and then we'd open the cans and they would be nice and warm. We had warm dinners that way from the sea rations.
Any acts of heroism?
Did I witness any? Oh yes. I remember a man was laying out there. He'd been shot, and one of the Marines went out and picked him up and carried him back behind the lines. But remember, there were 7,000 men killed in 27 days.
What did you like least about the military service?
What did I like about it?
What did you not like about it?
Well, we didn't have the comforts of home. We just spent our time in trenches. And moving forward. Every day we would move a little further to the other end of the island.
What did you like most about it?
What did we like about?
What did you like about most?
To say, I don't think anyone likes anything about combat. We just existed.
What did your family members do at home?
Family members. I imagine they were praying.
When were you discharged?
1946. January.
What happened on your last days in the service?
I think I had to sign some papers. And I was in Rhode Island by that time. I was shipped from Honolulu to San Francisco to Norfolk, Virginia.
What was your homecoming like?
What was what?
Your homecoming like?
2 babies crying like everything, looking at a strange man walking in the house.
Who did you want to see first when you came home?
Oh, my wife, naturally. And then the 2 kids, they had, the babies had measles, and they were crying when I walked into the kitchen of the house, where my wife had moved back, like most people in the service. They're young. They moved back with their families, a lot of them.
Did you bring home any souvenirs?
Yes, I did. Like little Japanese dolls, or maybe they worship them, I don't know. But I didn't bring hardly anything back. Some Marines did.
What would you say about somebody joining the service now?
Well, I've had several friends, young friends, from my church have enlisted.
Did you see the flag raise on Mount Suribachi?
Yes, I did. I was about, looking back, because it was behind us, always behind us. And we could see it waving. Anytime we wanted to look back.
How did you feel when war ended?
Well, very happy like everybody else.
We'd like to thank you for allowing us in your home.
Oh, you're very welcome. Many schools don't even teach about winning the war.
No. She's learning about what Iwo Jima is. And at least for her generation, they're teaching them what Pearl Harbor is. So at least she's learning about Pearl Harbor, which is a great thing. Mr. Tongren, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate your service. Your life has been tremendous, I'm sure. I'm looking at the photograph behind your head of all your children. You're a very blessed man. And
I've got 17 great-grandchildren. 17.
And it's still counting, I'm sure, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Well, thank you very much, and we greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate you people, what you're doing, because the population is forgetting that we were the winners in that war. And it's very important to know that we were defended very well. 'Twas battered and scarred, and the auctioneer thought it hardly worth his while to waste much time on the old violin. But he held it up with a smile. "What am I bidding, good folks?" he cried. "Who'll start the bidding for me? $1, then only $2, and who'll make it $3? $3 once, $3 twice," and going. But no, from the room far back, a gray-haired man came forward and picked up the bow. Then, wiping the dust from the old violin and tightening the loose strings, he played a melody pure and sweet as a caroling angel sings. The music ceased, and the auctioneer, in a voice that was quiet and low, said, "What am I bid for the old violin?" And he held it up with the bow. $1,000, and who'll make it $2? $2,000, and who'll make it $3? $3,000 once, $3,000 twice, and going, said he. The people cheered, but some of them cried, "We do not quite understand. What changed its worth?" Swift came the reply, "The touch of a master's hand, and many a man with life out of tune, and battered and scarred with sin, is often cheap to the foolish crowd, much like the old violin. A mess of pottage, a glass of wine, a game, and he travels on. He's going once, he's going twice, he's going and almost gone. But the master comes, and the foolish crowd never can quite understand the worth of a soul, and the change that's wrought by the touch of the master's hand. And the master touched me a long time ago now, and folks, I have never been the same. Never been the same. Here's a little hymn that goes with it. He touched me.
Thank you.
And I became a believer after a few years. I remember they used to throw a fifth of whiskey every other day into the foxholes up in front. I was in the front line the whole time. Yeah. And I became a believer. And Mary will tell you that I'm a deacon emeritus in my church. And and I've been a member of Deacon Emeritus for many years now in the church that I go to. And it's been a wonderful life since combat. I know a man who I hear tell ain't gonna go to a place called hell. Spent time on Iwo Jima Isle, lost his peace of mind and his smile. Took him a while to learn the truth why God wanted him in his youth. Every day had to have a drink, headed for that alcohol break. When good health failed, and he got low, and loved ones praying in their woe. Gospel tracts and Bible was read, God's word promised heaven ahead. I know a man who I hear tell ain't gonna go a place called hell, where most people are going. So that's in this population of 2 billion. Because he learned Jesus paid his sin. That's when God said he took me in. And folks, that's the way to heaven. Going to church is all right, and that's good. And if you're learning things, that's wonderful. But that won't get you to heaven. Going to heaven is through what Jesus did on Calvary. Anybody know about that? About Calvary. And where he hung on that cross and paid for the sins of mankind. Yeah. And I became a believer. I wasn't a believer. If I had been killed on that island, I would have gone straight to hell. Yes. But I got saved by reading a tract, one of these little booklets. And it told me all about Jesus dying on the cross. That's how you get to heaven, by trusting in what Jesus did. He came down from heaven, and he's going to come back again one of these days. So keep that in mind. That's the only way, is your faith in Calvary. Calvary. And every one of my books, not every poem, but most of them mention, and they're spiritual poems. Pathway to Paradise. Enough preaching. There you go. But thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
Mary and I are believers.